like to thank the sponsors of this event for Pacific Northwest Culture Camp. We have Bristol Bay Foundation, Bristol Bay Native Corporation, Coney Egg, TNV, Old Harbor Native Corporation, Alutiiq Hearing Services, Wayne State College, House of Welcome, and the Burke Museum. So Kwayana to all of them. We're going to do a really quick land acknowledgement. We want to honor and respect the caretakers of this land since time immemorial, the Duwamish, Squamish, Muckleshoot, and Tulalip tribes. We honor and respect their work in this lands, and we want to acknowledge it. And we're going to show you some pieces from the Burke Museum collection that we have selected. And we're going to have our guest speaker, who I'd like to introduce himself to those of you who may not know him.
Hi, my name is Sven Haakanson. I'm the privilege to be a curator here at the Burke, originally from Old Harbor on Kodiak.
This is the first piece that we selected. So you want to tell us what you know? We're going to put you on the spot.
I mean, some of the stuff I've actually not had the privilege to look at because we have so many other things here. I mean, what's wonderful is this actually helped keep tools and equipment in one place. So this is something that's a really simple box. But what's beautiful about it is that carvings, engravings on it here. But other than knowing it was from Tititlik, that's all we have.
It has a petroglyph on this side.
What's that?
Is that what that is there?
Yeah. It is.
Oh, this is upside down.
I mean, here you can do it this way. It could be petroglyphs on both sides, or it could be, if you think about a seal,
Oh,
nose itself. But see,
I love these little, how they taped it together.
so this would be really interesting to look at. Is there what kind of mountains or volcanoes near Tititlik? And see if that's actually a landscape. I will try to take some detailed shots and try to see if I can get some color out of it. See if it was painted. The wonderful thing with these, there's a lot of these small gutskin bags that were made that are very, I want to say, simple, beautiful, but also it's a great way to teach how to sew gut without actually using a lot. You can use all the scrap to make these. When we did the sewing class on Kodiak, the skin sewing class on Kodiak, we took a lot of these kinds of stitchings and taught students how to do that on bags themselves, but we used pig skin for that. Because getting access to gut at that time was a little more difficult and nobody was doing it. So these little bags here, and this one is collected from Kodiak. And from what year was that? 1912. And lined with cloth. But yeah, these are really wonderful tools for just teaching about how to make these kinds of bags. And you can put stuff in there and then zip it shut. There's a small price we're gonna do.
Yeah, it's a beautiful bag.
Yeah, and the nice thing is you can use all the scraps from after making a gutskin jacket or a hat or other things.
I love
scraps
the
from
bee
that.
tassels too.
Yeah.
Kwayana.
This is my very favorite hat.
Oh, I love these hats.
We really see those little details.
Yeah. And what's really wonderful about these hats is they appear, or we don't know how long we've been making them, but they've been around for a while because traditionally we used to have the grass skin hats. Alfred Nomoff Jr. was telling me about his mom used to make his brother's hats before the tidal wave out of grass that were similar to these, what we call a beanie hat. But what's really fun is the sewing. We use this kind of thing to teach as well. And it's also a nice way to teach the waterproof stitch and get something that you can then use.
Yeah, and this is like, it's a running stitch. So there's a little, a separate piece that is on top of the gut. and they put it on with the running stitch and then they embroider underneath the running stitch and then under the piece that they put on with the running stitch. So it's all, they're not going into the gut multiple times like it might appear. It's just the one time with the running stitch. I think that's so clever. I like think I'm going one, going the other. in the thing. Oh, let's see, how about this guy?
So these Alutiiqs are pretty common, or from the Russian period on. Very simple, made with iron, so because it's rusting out. But traditionally, they would have had slate, so you can make a slate Alutiiq, and then it's just very nice because it's very ergonomic in design and simple, and something that is easily made.
That's how it has a spot for your finger.
Yeah, that's.
And this one was collected from a Fognac, found in a Fognac?
Fognac, in 1937. Or brought here in 1937, but.
What holds the steel in the handle? Is it just
There's-
tightly fit?
They would
is
be
it-
tightly fit, but there might be some pins that we don't see.
Okay.
Now, it looks like. I don't want to pull it out. Oh, sorry.
Yeah.
More than likely, there might be a little hook on each end here that we can't see,
Okay.
because it doesn't look like there's any pins in it. Good question. I never really looked at that.
Don't know if we'll be able to, let's see if I can. Sorry, my arm.
Well, what's fun about these masks, these are really, they're plank masks. That are really simple to make, and pretty quick. But it has everything, that you would look at if you were making a mask. From the bite plate to how, the hoops were attached. To, even the painting and dance mask from principally Alaska Peninsula.
It had something that went along the outside of that, that's no longer, only portions of it are there. Was that?
That would have been skin.
Okay.
So if you look here, it would have been, this looks like seal skin, so the fur would have been facing out, going
Oh,
this way, or it could have been caribou skin as well, where you have the big ruff coming out when you're dancing.
ah,
And there would more than likely have been, also attachments. Let's see, I didn't really look that close. If there is anything that says. Yeah, I don't see any feather attachments here.
interesting.
And yeah, red ochre, black charcoal paint, and then chalk.
When was this? Oh,
Huh? This one? This says 1904.
wow.
I.
I love this little bag. I think it was 40s, right?
Yeah.
That's what I recall it. And it's from a Fognac. So all of our Fognac people out there. But it is so beautiful and it is velvet, black velvet. But look how unique the design work is on the flowers. And they're the little kind of tri-cut style beads. Oh, that's blowing out when I do it like that. And then it's got, you know, just sort of a regular beaded edge. You can see that.
And the pattern is different on the back side or the
Yeah.
other side, not the back side.
It's lined. Oh, it's so hard to like it all turned around. And then it's like roses on this side, like the Nuka roses, those wild roses. It's just lovely. It was somebody's little treasure for when they wanted to look very fancy. I love that.
This is something that I love to see happen more and more. These are mountain goat horn spoons. This says it's from Chugach region. We do have stuff from Kodiak and the Ethelyn collection in St. Petersburg, the collection in France. So a lot of them are
Phoebe
really
Hearst, too.
nice. Huh?
We showed him one from the Phoebe Hearst that was attributed to Kodiak, yeah.
So these are mountain goat at the time were the horns were traded to Kodiak and then carved. So it's just something I have some horns I want to work on, but haven't had time. I've made a couple before and gifted them away.
Does that one have inlaid beads on the
It
side?
does have inlaid beads.
So pretty.
I love that.
So simple too.
Yeah.
Mhm.
So they call it a baby label spoon.
Yeah, right. And it like, it just sort of like, it's a little form line-ish, you know, it has
Yeah.
those, it has that.
Yeah.
Influence. So beautiful. Love that. Here's the other spoon.
Is
This one.
that is kind of from Emmons. Ivory.
Mm.
All right, so yes, it says, well, it does look like ivory to me. It is ivory. So this would have been a trade spoon from the Bering Sea. Because you know we have a lot of walrus on Kodiak.
Did we then?
Yeah. No. So this would have been traded and brought down, and
Could it have been carved on Kodiak, but
it could have been carved on
Yeah.
Kodiak because there were before. What I've learned over the years is before contact, they were trading. They would kayak from Karluk over to Karluk area over to the mainland and then go over into the Bering Sea to trade with folks up in that area. And there used to be trails and routes that they would go to get materials. So,
that's amazing.
yeah. Yeah, it's beautiful.
That one looks very like Russian influence.
It is very much Russian
Yeah.
influence. This one is.
I love that spoon. It's really beautiful.
It is
I love that
gorgeous.
design work. You can see that.
I love the pieces you guys picked out.
Thank
Like,
you.
interesting
Brianna.
things to look at.
What I love, there's. Our ladies made a lot of these bags and you find them in collections all over the world. Very simple, very elegant, but the beautiful thing with these bags, when you're out kayaking or on the water, or even at home, you have a waterproof bag that can keep your things dry. And what's really beautiful about this is you can see, if you get close, you can see the eagle down, that's been sewn into it. Here, let me turn this sideways a little bit. There, you can barely see it, but you'll see it. Let's see if I can do it sideways. Can't really, it's so fine that you can
Yeah.
barely see it. Oh, here, let me do this. Turn it over.
Oh, there you go, from that angle.
There, you see the feather right there. You see the eagle down that they use
Mhm.
in there. And then the other thing too that you'll find in some of these is you'll see that they've sewn in people's probably their family members or people they honor, they sew their hair into it as a way of remembering them, embodying their spirit into the space. That's cool, but anyway, so I mean, there's a lot of these bags and they're really fun to be able to teach waterproof stitch and to students, to anybody, but it's just, I love these bags.
I do too. I really want to make one if somebody wants to teach me. How
What do you
to
mean? You
more
already know how, you know,
I know.
bucks and all that, it's like, you know
But-
how.
But I don't know.
It's
No.
always fun to work with people, that's what it
Exactly.
boils down to, yes.
Yeah.
So again, this is another beautiful mask. Here. Well, other than it just being a dance mask from Chugach, Alaska Peninsula area, that's about all we know about this one. And it's a beautiful piece. I know that Jerry Lactone has made made one like it. And he did a really beautiful job of painting that one. So this is just red ochre and black.
Did it ever have anything attached to this outside?
It
do you
looks
think?
like there probably was, but over time it got lost to the attachments here.
I think it's so interesting too, that sometimes the museum curators of the past didn't aesthetically like things and they would just take things
Take
off.
things off or paint them.
Yeah,
Yeah.
yeah. That's wild.
Harpoon, toggling harpoon. And this one, it says from Kodiak as well, which is really amazing because this would have been something that was done from the whalers, modern day whalers, not Alutiiq. We would have used lances traditionally, which we would have then coated with aconite. Aconite doesn't stick to the metal. I was visiting with my mom and she was talking about what her mom had told her with whaling. And she said that when the Russians came, they brought metal and they tried to hunt whales with the metal lances, but the poison wouldn't stick to them. So they switched back to using lances. And so you have lances used during the Russian period. And then during the American period, they came in with the big ships and all that and stopped using that. But so this is a more of an American period thing introduction, but using the same idea of a toggling harpoon for hunting, which would go into, this would go into the whale. And then when it got so far in, it would get under the skin here. That would stay in, and then this would go to the floats further out. The line would go up to the floats where this would be inside the skin. And then they'd use that to slow the whale down. And that's how they hunt up north in Barrow and that region, and Utqiagvik in that region.
Originally, they would have been made out of,
Slate, but they
Slate.
didn't do the floats there. They used poison,
Mhm.
aconite.
so this is a beautiful stone oil lamp collected from Seldovia. It is made of stone, pecked out. It's an anik, as we would call them. You can see on the side of it where the wick probably laid, you know, where the flame was. It's a small household size, not, you know, the larger kind, but not a traveling one either, probably.
It's heavy.
Yeah, it's a heavy, like beach cobblestone. But we love the shape of this one, so
I
that'd
was
be a good
thinking
one
they
to
look a little
show.
like a baked potato.
They do look a
Makes
little,
me happy.
Yeah.
One of the things we learned from Lucille Davis before she passed, she was originally from Carlup. What they used to do is with ones that were not, when the family line died, they would usually crack the stone in half. But a lot of times when you left a place, when you were not using it, you took it and you left it upside down. And she told us that was to keep the fire within. And so if you find any on a beach that are upside down, that means somebody intentionally left it in that area. So that when they came back, they can then just flip it back over and use it again. That's what she shared with
Wow.
us.
Mhm.
So,
I love that.
and that was Lucille Davis.
It's always struck me like that story and other stories have struck me that they were really personal items. That like you made this item and it was yours for your whole life, and that when you were gone, like people didn't use it anymore because it
Yeah.
was something that followed you for
Unless
your
you
life.
passed it on.
Unless you gave it to somebody, right?
Yeah.
But that's, I don't know. I think that there's something really touching about that and touching about the idea that like now people are carving them again. And that we have that opportunity to keep passing that light on, you know, it's very symbolic, I think. So. This guy,
the most beautiful design.
And then the beautiful thing with this paddle is it's a smaller paddle, which is more to our size. So you can tell how tall this person was because to make the paddle, you want to have it from your toe to your chin. So this would have fit my mom perfectly. Or even my youngest daughter, actually, she's tiny. But you want to go from your chin to your toe for the length of the paddle. For the hand, for the blade, you go from middle of your chest to your fingertip. And they use 2 fingertips on the tip. So this tip has been broken. 2 fingers on the tip, and then you go 1 hand in or 2 hands in, and then the maximum width is your thumb like this for this part here. And the other cool thing too is when we started making kayak paddles again at home, when we were looking at collections from Carlup and then looking at some donations from other villages. When you look at the handle, when they first started making these paddles again, they were making them round. You don't want to make them round. This needs to be oval. So this is gonna be thinner. This is gonna be wider. So when you hold your hand up, the actual paddle fits your hand. So even when you're tired, it's not gonna roll on you.
Mm.
You always have it. It's so beautifully designed for that ergonomic use. And so that needs to fit your hand size. So each paddle is made for a specific individual.
What do you know about the design on that?
I don't know anything about the design.
It sure is pretty though.
Yeah, and it has some meanings.
Mm-hmm. Do you think what kind of, is that charcoal paint or,
Yeah, charcoal and red ochre,
and what's the charcoal mixed with fat?
fat oil,
Mhm.
fermented. Sometime, well, they use the Yupik, actually, when Grace Herod was alive, she had me contact her brother to talk about making paints, and they had a very set way of, when you get an animal, then you take the blood, you let it ferment to the point of being putrid. And then there was another process she never told me about, but that's how they got the blood to get the black. And it
Okay.
became permanent. And so when you look at Yupik pieces that are hundreds of years old, it's like it was painted yesterday, like this one here.
Mhm.
So you can see that beautiful design.
Is any part of the paddle concave to sort of like, or even flat to grab the water, or is it all sort of,
This part gets flat, it gets very thin to down to a quarter of an inch.
okay, and
Yeah,
that's flat, so that's
not
for the
concave.
pulling.
You don't want to have it concave because when you do that, then it cups the water. And the other thing that's beautiful about these paddles is they're designed for stealth. And this would have probably another tip that was broken off a little bit longer. So when you're cutting through the water, you're not bringing it up and going plunk, plunk, like what we have today.
Okay.
And this paddle is made for, a specific size person. So you make your paddles for yourself. Or somebody would make them for you, based on your body size.
There we go.
There you go.
Okay, so this is a beautiful jacket. And where is it from?
Kodiak.
You say Korea?
Okay. No, I have a gold. 1926 is when it went into the collection, and this was clearly like ceremonial use, because it's not waterproof. The stitching that was
Yeah,
used,
so the stitching.
it was for some tall guy. I love these Cheyenne pink beads. They're really small. Those are smaller than 11 O's.
Yeah,
Those are maybe like 15.
yeah, I think they're
Say
about
they're
15.
15s. They're not microscopic, but they're pretty small. Or
Actually,
America, 1926, it could have been
yeah, that's true.
American
And
period.
didn't Cheyenne pink beads come up through from the East Coast all the way down to the middle of the US and then up to Alaska?
I mean, they all
The
came
Cheyenne-
from Europe, right?
Right,
Yeah.
but specifically those Cheyenne
The
pinks did.
direction, yeah.
Yeah.
Yeah, I don't know. We should have Justin here. You would know. He's a real bead.
The bead guy.
Bead nerd, yeah.
Well, I want to talk to the bead guy.
And then
for
you've
sure.
got the wool fringe.
In the inside,
Mhm.
just the detail.
This is a great example. I always think that that's stable, but it's not, of just how things were put on with the running stitch, and then the little hat that we saw earlier that got the false embroidery on the top of it. So you could, well, they could have false embroidered that. They didn't, but could have. And this was really common too, like taking the gut or whatever this is and painting it in little sections.
That's on a couple of hats over there.
I love it.
And what kind of, is this one gut?
Seal,
Seal?
yeah. And the reason I say it's seal is because it's so small.
Mhm.
Actually, I would say seal. Seal's a little bit smaller than this. I would say probably sea lion.
Sea lion?
And then the larger ones like you get that are large. There's an Ickwick bowl here. That on that. And it's made out of whalebone vertebrae. My grandmother had one, it's now with their family. My Auntie Wilma's family, made out of whale vertebrae, and they would do this, and they would get it so that they get to make snuff or chew. And that's what we've known them to be. And according to what they said here, they called it a snuff grinding bowl. So even from 1965, whoever brought this in, That doesn't say, Laura Jones. Shared that, and so that's something that's pretty common at home.
It's a really interesting piece. Is hair found in regalia also?
Yes, it is. Yeah. And again, that's to embody the spirit of that person, and their essence. All right, here we go. So you can see how large,
So this is
you can see
nothing.
how large, there we go, how large the bear in this gut is. Back.
There you go. You want me to hold that thing?
There.
Whatever you want to do.
So you can see how large the gut is there, and that's the typical bear gut. And let's see, let's zoom in on that. Look at that stitching.
Yeah.
Wow.
Stitching, that's beautiful.
Can you guys see the stitching at all?
I don't know, it's cry worthy, everyone.
It is such beautiful stitching.
Yeah.
Wow.
And it has the red ochre, right?
Yeah, well, yeah, that.
Love that too.
Now, is this, the question I want to know is this throat? Because,
It has lighter bits, stripes.
yeah,
It used to have fur on it. Too, it looks like, maybe, or maybe it's
no,
not
it was sewn
sewing
into
inside,
it. It was
sewn
sewn
into
into it.
okay.
Sewn into that. That is
When-
just not common.
And then it's got the wool trimmings.
When you touch it, how hard is it? Like you guys are kind of bending it. I picture it as like tough and like would break or something. Is it not close to that? Is it more fabricy?
And no, this is pretty brittle or crunchy, but I mean, if we got it wet, then it becomes very supple.
Okay.
So you wouldn't hear that crunchiness, but because it just dries that way. But then when you get it wet, it's like handling cloth.
So when they wore it, would they kind of get it wet a little bit first so it wouldn't like,
So
could it crack?
Yeah, so when I use the actual gut skin jacket out kayaking, what Grace Herod taught me was you take it, you dip it in the salt water, then pick it up a couple times, shake it off, and then you put it on, and it works like a raincoat.
Wow.
Yeah,
Wow.
you know, the biggest thing is just shaking off the water once you're done, and then rolling it up and keeping it in a dry place so it dries, and doesn't mold.
So is that when you put it on, is the inside a little bit wet? It just keeps out the rest of the water?
Yeah, yeah. It's a little damp, but it's not that bad actually, because it sheds the water.
Yeah.
Yes. Yeah.
Wow. That's stitching. I think I'm gonna have to make a good sketch of this one.
Just, I love this.
Here's 101
This is one.
yeah. Use as the model.
And this is.
Huh?
What is this?
That looks like human hair.
That's what I thought too. but-
Yeah, so you got human hair there too. And you'll see that on a lot of the pieces. Probably a hair of either one of their family members or a relative. It's more about embodying that person's spirit into like the piece, but also them. It's the idea of that having their presence so that they are part of what you're doing.
I love this piece. I think I like bentwood pieces in general,
Uh-huh.
but I like the way the handle is carved with the notch so that it fits on there and how it's just put together. I just think it's just beautiful. Now, I don't know what do we have what is this
Nope, it's over there.
over here?
You got a leather strap for it.
So this one is, it says Alutiiq, Titlic, Prince William Sound.
Okay.
And it's wood, and it's a bucket for mashing salmon eggs in.
Wow.
And that's a that's the grease that you see on there.
There we go.
And it has 3 strands of hide at opposite ends. So that must be these right here.
For hauling, yeah.
Yep. So I just love this piece.
And here's your masher.
Oh.
That goes with it.
Oh, that one goes with this one?
Yeah.
Oh, very cool.
Here, come here, let me see if it works.
No. So this says mashers, wood, belongs with the bucket. That's what we get. 1902. Salmon eggs were such an important substance for nourishment. All right.
And another hat. Um,
This one I haven't seen before. This one's so unique. I love that design. Whoops. What kind of wood? Kathy was asking what kind of wood?
that looks like, spruce. Spruce is the one that gives that grain. Let me take a look. It looks like it's based on grain. And also spruce is the easiest to bend. I mean, you can use cedar, red cedar, yellow cedar, but that doesn't look like it. It looks like spruce to me.
Did that answer your question, Kathy? Okay. What do we know about this beauty?
Right, so here is from Unang, it says Unangan hat, from 1912.
Gosh, that's beautiful.
It's quite beautiful.
Yes. Is that silk thread on there? What is the red and the black?
The red and the black, well, that's skin, that's skin, and then the actual white is caribou hair. That's
I
there,
see.
that's
There you go.
sewing.
Got it.
The reason I know that is because I looked under a microscope at stuff in Russia that had the same kind of sewing.
Uh-huh. Did they sew with, is that sewn with the,
No, it's woven into the stitching, so if
Okay.
you look at the stitching
Yeah,
really close, you can see
yeah.
that.
and that says seal intestine?
Yes, seal intestine. It's like, let's see that, no, sorry.
There you go. There you go. Wow, look at that fine stitching. That is just amazing. So this bag, I think, is just fascinating. This is a lung sack bag from, it's Kodiak. It has red ochre on it. And they use the actual lung to make the lung sack to make this bag. And you can see that it's been stitched together, but on the other side, I very carefully lifted. You can see it also has red ochre on the back side. I just love this piece. And this is was collected in 1965, but it's older than that, I'm sure. Someone thought it was a heart lining from an animal larger than a moose, but someone else thinks it's a lung sac, not a heart. I think it's just fascinating. Raise this up so you can see that repair stitching there.
3484,
No,
no information on it.
just Alutiiq.
Yeah, I can check.
Yeah.
So these are both probably from Prince William Sound, because you've got a mixture, it looks like, this one here looks like red cedar. I mean, yeah, probably red cedar root. Or it could be a larger spruce root. But these baskets would have been used for hauling clams or things that were wet, so they drained out. More than likely, it was a clam basket. So you can make these pretty quickly, and they take a lot of use, especially because of the strength in them. You would have this attached, and you would have another attached on this end here, and then another one on this end. So, and then you just haul it. You use a chunk line where you can attach it to your forehead and walk around picking up clams, or when you're digging clams, put them in that. So it's a great thing for hauling. These other ones, in fact, they're designed, they could be almost waterproof. And well, they probably were waterproof based on its design. And one of the telltales I was told, learning about this is if it's Alutiiq and not Sugpiaq, you'll have these bands on it, on the bottom, these little extra raised, parts. So that's something that might be a telltale. Yeah, the triple twining, but also this little extra layer.
Okay.
It's a little bit of a bump from those up.
Yeah.
And this looks like spruce root to me. Just based on the color and the shape. But then what makes it more difficult is you get what we call bear grass in this material here. That they're using as to highlight, and then this design is a reflects more the Sugpiaq designs. But that's all I know. Yeah, that's northwest, northern Sugpiaq, yeah, oh, I need to see that. Like in 1929. But yeah, I would attribute this more closely to the Chugach movement.
Yeah, me too. And we were on a Zoom with them and they were looking at, elders were looking at some stuff that's housed in Germany. And this exact, pattern was in some of those baskets and people on call knew exactly where it was from.
Wow.
So I thought that that was amazing. Here's a little basket, maybe.
So this adorable basket is,
It's a jar. And it has a lid.
the maker was Phyllis Restov, Sugpiaq Aqiaq. So she's from Aqiaq. It's grass yarn, red yarn, and it's over a bottle. Does it have the triple twine on the bottom? No, it sure is an adorable one. This one was made in early 1968. Early date, so 1968.
And she did some false embroidery with wool yarn.
Very cute. And then this tiny little basket. Just so,
Yeah, you can see. So here's great.
oh, is that Coral Chernoff's basket? Yes, this one was made by Coral Chernoff, so some of you may know her. Early 2008, it's a lidded basket made with grass with silk thread. It has a triple twined and it has false embroidery. So let's see if we can get that a little closer. That is the most adorable, beautiful basket.
Well, it's to wear it while you're dancing, and then you can take it without having to have all the other excess stuff. You just take it off or not, well,
So
take it out of your mouth.
So it'd be held just by bite alone.
Yeah, yeah.
Oh, thank you.
So your bite plate would be right here.
That seems like it'd be a heavy bite.
Yeah. Yeah, you're definitely not singing or talking while you're dancing.
No, you
No.
wouldn't be, would you?
No, it's everybody else that's singing and dancing. You're just performing with the mask.
I like that it has an indent for your nose, but on the other side, it's a built-up nose.
Yeah.
That's really cool.
So grass?
Yeah.
Yep, definitely grass basket. Here, what does it say?
Says push basket, basket tree carrying basket, Kodiak Island. Grass yarn, webbed around,
Sure wasn't a hat.
open twined, crossed, cross work twining braided and false embroidered.
Really?
I love
Is
that.
there a
So
design?
this is attributed, it's up here. The design is up at the top. That false embroidery.
Oh, yep, okay.
And then, I've only ever seen this done on things attributed to like, none.
Yeah. Oh, no, that, I
The
mean, we,
cross work. So
Yeah.
like, I haven't seen it attributed to us, cross work.
we did both.
Yeah, I
We
imagine we
also
did.
did spruce root.
Yeah,
So, I mean, and we have that both from Carlook, we have both grass and spruce root.
Yeah.
Come together.
I like have always loved this. And love the ingenuity of it, you know, because it definitely makes it something that's really flexible.
So this is interesting. It says in the collection notes, the bag was gifted to the donor by Wilbur Assace while working on salmon fishing netting in Uganic Bay. The very bottom.
By Philip, let's see.
That is really beautiful.
It is beautiful.
It's really intricate. I love that piece. All right. Kayana, everyone.
Yeah,
Diana, thank you.
We enjoyed having you. All right.
I good to see everybody.
I
Thank you, Brianna.